What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome back, Sooner Surge live show on this Tuesday night. Hope everybody is doing good. Thanks for joining me tonight. Love to talk to you tonight as we get going here. Some news. Oklahoma gets another portal guy, spring portal, defensive lineman out of Utah State, Ricky Lolohea. I believe is how you pronounce it. So they get him committed. So that's good for Oklahoma for depth. Really a guy that can be there for a few years and be depth on that defensive line. So what's up, everybody? Chester, what's going on? Teresa, Aaron, KB, Mark, it's time. It is. I hope you're all doing good. Frozen. I'm frozen. Hunter, am I frozen? I don't feel like I am. I don't know. KC says I am, but I don't think I am. Okay, good. 918 says a Lolohea pickup is odd when we need depth in other positions, but guess Drayling likes him. Yeah, I've heard that too, that Drayling really liked him. It is kind of weird because I agree with you, 918. I would think specifically linebacker and maybe corner. Like, I think those are positions, especially linebacker to me. Linebacker, I'm still wondering what they're going to do as far as depth at linebacker. I mean, if someone gets injured or they get a couple injuries at linebacker, they're kind of in trouble a little bit. So I thought they would get a spring portal linebacker, honestly, and maybe they still will. I mean, you got a few more days, I guess. But what's up, Braden? How you doing? But yeah, I was kind of interested, wondering about that too, 918. Greg God says a Missouri State tight end is next. We'll see. Possibly. We'll see. Specifically, those two positions, Jason, I've heard they standing pay at cornerback. Yeah, is what he's heard. The outcome for the BYU receiver, he's set 3 or 4 visits. He's not coming to OU. I think Arizona State maybe was one of them. Maybe Tennessee I saw, but Texas isn't pursuing anymore either, I believe. So, hey, Dave, thanks so much, Dave. Really do appreciate it. Big time. Means a lot. Hope you're doing well tonight. Thank you so much. Really, really grateful for that, Dave. Thank you. Mark says, oh man, I don't even know, Mark. That's so many hypotheticals there. I can't really answer that. I mean, that's hypothetical. I don't know with injuries and stuff. He knows he's got to win this year, though, Mark. Oral Roberts beats OU for the first time since 2019. Yeah, they lose to ORU midweek game. Casey Carter says, can someone help me understand how the transfer portal works for spring transfers? Like, do they have to sit out or what? No, only if the only rule is SEC. If you transfer within the conference of the SEC, you would have to sit out. That is the only rule, KC. If you're in the Big Ten, it doesn't matter. You can transfer within conference. It's only the SEC, and it's only if you transfer within the conference. If you transfer out of the conference, you do not have to sit out. Yeah, more Pacific Islanders, the better. We'll see what this Lolohea does as far as defensive line for Oklahoma. I think he's a depth piece that will be there for a few years. I don't think it was a need like right away, personally. But I will say this, OU basketball looks like Darion Reed from Alabama was in for a visit today. Former 5-star player, 6'8", averaged 6 points a game at Alabama's freshman season. So this would be another massive get for Porter Moser if he can land it. Herbie coming into more. I saw this, Aaron. I did see this on Herbie's Instagram, I think. So, yeah. Great God. Got a joke for you. 3 FCS tight ends walk into the portal. OU signs them. That's pretty good, 918. Have you ever thought about stand-up? Maybe you should do some stand-up comedy, 918. That's pretty funny. You know what? I'll say this again about tight end. I don't, and maybe 918 was kind of hinting at this too, but I don't personally see a point to get another depth piece at tight end. I feel like that's all they got at tight end are depth pieces. Like if you're going to go get somebody that's going to make a difference. That's how I feel at tight end. I think they got a lot of guys at tight end, guys that I don't know about, that I don't know if they're going to do anything. I really don't. I know a lot of people like Kinnick, never played the position in college. Will Hug. I mean, you could go down the list. Carson Kent. I mean, who's going to be the guy, and how confident are you that he is going to be the guy? I think that's where I'm at tight end. I think they got a bunch of guys in that room, but I don't know who I would put my money on right now. I don't know who I would put it on. I'm not sure. What's up, Colin? How are you? In the last 25 years, OU's had 2 years where a tight end had that production level. Yeah, and you're talking Jermaine Gresham and you're talking Mark Andrews. Correct? I believe so. I thought I heard that they're going to be doing some stadium improvements. I thought I heard that somewhere. What's an acceptable level of production from your starting tight end? It depends, Colin, on the offense. But I think somebody that's, I mean, I don't know yardage wise. It depends on the offense you're running and your other position groups. But you need somebody that's going to catch touchdown passes. I think when I think tight end, I think around the goal line, catching touchdown passes, can make the key blocks, and guys that can pick up first downs. Like I think of that as tight end a lot. Like, can they get the first down when I need them? Yeah, Lakers looking good tonight, Greg. God, they're back after that one game blowout. Thunder won tonight. I don't even think the Thunder even played that great, and they still win by almost 20 points or whatever. It's kind of wild. Not throwing an interception is an acceptable tight end production. Mark, that's it. We got some comedians on here tonight. Had a 5-star guy, didn't give him any reps and became disengaged, wasted talent. Well, if you're talking about Devon Mitchell, Chief, I agree with some of that, but I also think a lot Devon Mitchell had a lot of issues that he wasn't dealing with personally, and he wasn't maybe putting the effort in. I don't know. It just sounds like it. So I think that's a two-way street there. Braden Willis was good. I'm nuts. I agree. He was good. Yeah, he was good. How about they get a wide receiver that doesn't drop the ball? Yeah. I saw Texas sign the big defensive lineman out of Syracuse. That was a good get for Texas. Still, they have Texas and OU top 2 in the SEC spring portal window as far as where they ranking the spring portal. Not all portal, spring portal. You know, I like this spring portal a little bit. I like it because you can get guys that, and I think KB mentioned this in the Discord today, but it's almost like it's another kind of recruiting because you can get guys like this guy from Utah State. I think he has 3 years eligibility. I mean, you can get guys that have 2-3 years eligibility, and it's kind of nice add into your roster. And then because you know what, I think it's great. You get a guy like John Mateer. Don't get me wrong. That's awesome. And if he's here 1 year, I think that's great. Go to the NFL, does what he needs to do at Oklahoma. But then you could also say there's something about getting portal guys that will be here 2 to 3 years. I think there's a little bit of both. I mean, yeah, your immediate need, you can get a guy for 1 year kind of as a rental. Maybe he's developed somewhere else. He's really developed his game and got really good. It's great to get those guys for a year too. So, are you talking about the receiver, Trojan Fight, Pena? Or are you talking about the lineman that just signed with Texas? Benjamin says, how could we be ranked that high when we only got 3 players? It's because of I think Ott jumped OU way up, personally. I think that was such a big get for Oklahoma that it jumped them way up. But you look at it, really, Benjamin, in the spring portal, I don't think there's been a whole lot of movement at all, SEC-wise. I'm trying to think, but you know a team you're not really hearing much about right now in the portal? Ole Miss. in the spring at all. I haven't heard their name hardly mentioned at all. Now, we talked about this at the end of last season. I remember when our Ole Miss guy was on here and we were talking to him about it. They got to get rid of a lot of guys to get down to the roster limit. It seemed like they were way over. Maybe I was wrong on that, but I don't know. And I think Pena's asking for quite a bit based off what his coach, Fran Brown, said. Kind of sound like he was wanting a couple $1 million. So maybe I'm wrong on that. But I don't know. It sounds like OU's kind of staying pat with what they got at wide receiver. I don't know if they're going after another wide receiver. I think if somebody went into the portal, they would have. But I don't think they are anymore. We'll be fine as long as Jay doesn't transfer back. Good one, Devin. 918 says, but they already shown their willingness to get in the portal. So just because they have 3 years of eligibility don't mean they sticking around. Now that's true, and that's a good debate and a good kind of reasoning to go against what I said, because you're right about that. A lot of these guys that, you know why? I mean, let's just use this guy as an example. This Utah State guy. He could come to Oklahoma for 1 year and then have on his, and I'm going to say resume because I feel like it is a resume kind of. You could then have on your resume, you transfer from Utah State and went to Oklahoma. It just looks good on the resume. You know how you leave jobs and you say, hey, that job's going to look good on my resume, or this is going to look good on my resume. Transfer to OU or Texas, or you go down the list to an SEC school, looks good on your resume, whether you play much or not for your first year. Looks good. Just does. I don't know about this one, Hunter. Hunter, I don't know if you know this. I don't know the Texas limits. Maybe one of our Texas guys on here does. I don't know if they're way over or not. Sooner Cowboy says they have one more spot left. So I hate to say it, but Texas could win it all this year. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to depend on Arch. I think how good is Arch? And when I say how good is he, I think he's going to put up really good numbers. But what about like the big games, pressure situations? I'm interested to see how he's gonna handle that. Okie State to Utah State and now to Oklahoma. Yeah. And you know what? 918, honestly, I wouldn't expect him to probably be there 3 years. 2-3 years. I just think he might be a guy that transfers a lot, it seems like. William Watson, he was at Utah State for a reason. We need better talent, period. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you here. I think what I said earlier is what he is. I think he's depth. And they might, maybe Drayling or some of these guys that really liked him really think he's got a big upside and maybe they can get him there. I don't know, though. I don't know. I'm not real sold on it, but you know what? I'm here on April, whatever this is. I'm not going to, it's hard for me to judge on guys that I haven't really seen play and that are probably not going to be playing this year for Oklahoma. I mean, I would highly doubt that Ricky Lolohea plays much this year, if any. That's just my opinion. I mean, you got other guys in that defensive line room that needs to be playing, I think. So, Arch is getting exposed, Tyler said. I don't know if he's talking about spring or I don't know what you're talking about, Tyler. People think we needed to get a starting defensive tackle, question mark? No, Kyle, I don't think so. I don't think anybody's saying that. I think it's why not use that roster spot for a need? That's kind of where I'm at. Now, maybe they feel like this is a need. I don't know. I mean, I can't see why they would think that, but I have a real right now. I'm really a little bit concerned with the linebacker depth. And then I don't know who's going to play the cornerback position opposite Eli Bowen. Now, I know a lot of people are high on Dolby if he gets switched over to cornerback. I like that. And I think they got some guys. But if there was a guy out there that would be a starter that you could go get, then yeah, I'd go get somebody. Now, not at defensive tackle. I don't think you need it at defensive tackle. I'd like to see if there's a cornerback out there that's a day one starter. I'm okay with that. Kicker, maybe. I mean, heck, they might need a kicker, guys and gals. Need another wide receiver or tight end. And that's my issue, Sooner Cowboy, with the tight end. If they get this Missouri State tight end, I mean, that's fine and dandy. I get it. Maybe they really like him. So I can't question whether or not they like him. Maybe they do. If I were going to get a tight end, it'd be a guy that's going to come in and start day one. Because I got a bunch of guys in that room that I'm not sure what I got yet. That's me, though. Jason, I'm not a coach. Now, Joe John Finley, I don't know what his thoughts are on these guys. It just seems like the tight end room has a bunch of guys in it. That's what I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a couple of guys in there that stand out over the other ones. But if OU don't get them this year, I'd be disappointed. They're young, got to get the W this Red River rivalry. Chester's been saying OU's going to win that game for a while now. I'm not there yet. I think Texas is young in spots, but I think they're still really talented. But you know what? Sometimes the inexperience does show up more often in games like that. So we'll see. Need Guys has played a couple of years with production for linebacker and tight end. Ask Ron. Hey, Ron, what are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts, Ron? See what Ron says here. How does Joe John Finley have any credibility left? Greg, I don't know. I don't claim to know. No clue. There's Ron's answer. I don't know. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate your opinion. Means a lot. Appreciate your opinion. Glad we could go there. Honestly, OU has a lot of experience that should help win games this year. They do. And you know what? They have it in some key positions, which I like. I am interested and to know you guys' thoughts on this too in the chat. You know, we were talking about linebacker depth earlier, and I feel like they need another linebacker for some depth. But do you feel like Kip is going to take over the Stutzman vocal, the calling of, with the headset? Do you think he's going to take that over? Or do you feel like it's going to be another guy, Kobe or somebody else? What do you guys think on that? I think it's probably going to be Kip. Now, possibly not, but Aaron says Kip. Hey, Mark, there's a lot of people hyping him, but then I've seen a lot of people say he had a really bad spring game. So I don't know. I'll say this. It's totally different, though. It's totally different going from that to then coming to Norman week 2. That's a different animal. And I think he's going to be in for it's going to be a tough situation for him as a second start to be there in Norman, I think. I mean, it's Kip or Kobe. I would agree, 918. It's just which one. Texas had a lot of experience and talent last year, struggled to beat teams that they were way better than on paper. Yeah, but you know what? They beat them. And I think that's the thing. They made the playoff. They've been in the playoff back-to-back years. I know. I mean, I'm not a Texas fan at all. You know that. I got the hat out here to prove it. But they've made the playoff back-to-back years. So you got to give them credit where it's due there. 2 to 3 sacks against Michigan, RMT. Yeah, it's going to be hard for him to do. I mean, you would think, okay, another year, another off season, he's going to be even better, which possibly, yeah, but it's kind of like Billy Bowman. Billy Bowman came back, and it was hard for him to have the stats that he had the year before because he was just wherever the ball was, he was. He had interceptions for touchdowns. R. Mason Thomas, man, he had a dang good year last year. I think maybe he could have as good of a year, but have worse numbers as far as sacks. I just think he could. And I think it's one of those situations where you could have as good of a year, but you couldn't have as much, maybe statistically wise. Here's a good question. Will we miss Zach Alley at all? That is a good question, Dalpost. And I don't think you'll miss him as far as defensive calling and coaching, because I think they got some good guys on this staff when he left. I think Drayling's really good, Dreiling, however you want to say it. And then I think the Clemson guy's really good. So I think the staff's good. I think the defense will be good. I think the calls will be good from Brent Venables. My only really concern is how much does it take Brent out of a head coaching spot and what he needs to do for the team as far as a head coach. That's my concern. I think the staff's really good. I think the defensive staff's really good. I think the defensive play calling will be really good under Brent Venables. I just wonder, does that pull him away from other duties that he needs to be focused on? So that's I don't think it'll affect him defensively. Have a great feeling with the staff too, Jay. Zach Arnett available as an analyst. There you go. 918 says, so there's always the spring rumors that fly around during the offseason. Does anyone believe that Wine and honestly pushing for a starting spot? Just don't see it personally. Here's what I would say, 918. I've thought about this. After people have been put in the chat, you had the Okoye stuff come out. You had, different things come out. Here's what I would say about Wine. If they want a guy to be like Ethan Downs, where can really set the edge, stop the run, I can see Wine being that role if they're wanting to use him as that. Because Ethan Downs started a lot. But as a pure pass rusher edge, I wouldn't think Wine would be the guy. Now, maybe I'm wrong on that. I haven't been to practice. I can't really say that I know everything and how he's playing. I just think he seems more of like a Ethan Downs type edge than he does like a R. Mason Thomas edge. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, or 918 if that makes any sense to you, but that's kind of where I'm at on it. And maybe they want to play a guy like that opposite RMT. I don't know. Maybe Brent Venables feels like that's better with the defense. I don't know. I do find it kind of hard to believe that he would be pushing for their starting role. I do find that hard to believe, 918, but heck, who knows? Who knows? If they see him as that position, maybe so. Put in Wine on the rushing downs and let PJ be the pass rush guys. I am very intrigued to see PJ Adebawore. I'm intrigued to see what he's going to look like as far as, is he going to be more exposed? I think, you know what? I think my biggest kind of like, as I've watched PJ the first 2 years, is I thought he was going to be, and he is explosive, but I don't know if it's his body type. Sometimes and he's been injured, so maybe we haven't seen the full gamut of PJ Adebawore, and maybe this year we will see it. I think we need to see it from PJ. I think this is his year. You got, as Zaya says, you got Marvin Jones Jr., PJ, or Danny Okoye over Wine, maybe is what he's saying. I don't know. Petaway to ECU. Isn't that crazy? Is that wild stuff? There are so many players, and this is not OU related. There are so many players that go to big time schools out of high school that after a year or two end up at like a small school. I think it's crazy. Do you think, is that because teams just totally miss on a recruitment of a guy? Or do you think players, the star ratings aren't right? What is making so many guys, I feel like, come in highly touted and then don't really pan out? I don't know. National media is a lot higher, Purple Orca. A lot higher on Oklahoma. And that's kind of got me a little nervous, because maybe I'm like, it really wants you to believe the hype. And there's nothing wrong with believing the hype, but I'm going to wait and see after 2 games. I've said that before on this show. I'll say it again. Give me 2 games to watch this team to see where I can pick their record. I just think there's a lot of things to be excited about. And then there's also, you got to wait and see on some of it. Rodney Anderson back working in Norman. Someone telling him to bring his brother back in. Yeah. Okie, ORU, man. Disappointing. And they were right last year. And a lot of OU fans didn't want to believe it, Purple. We did a show every night, and everybody said there's no chance OU's going 6-7. There's no chance OU's just winning 7 games. There's zero chance OU's winning 8 games. They're going to win more than that. And national media was right last year. So, yeah, JD's on there. I think Josh Pate. Josh Pate sat down with Lincoln Riley recently. We have not talked about the McNeese State wide receiver yet. Have not. So, hey, let's open up the phone lines, Hunter. Open them up. Check out the Fan Stop. www.thefanstop.com. Code SURGE, 10% off your first 3 months. Officially licensed gear. Not just OU gear, other team gear. Check them out. Thefanstop.com. Great people, too. I mean, just amazing. Kevin and his staff over there, absolutely elite. OU fans, amazing people. Buy from them. Buy local. That's all I got to say. Phone lines are officially open. There you go. If you'd like to call in and chat with me, there it is. There's the link. Call in. Give me a little chat. 918 says, I think guys like Petaway and smaller, it's going to be the old saying, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Yeah, and that's a good point. I like that. That's a good point. Blake says, to be fair, I did say we could go as low as 4-8 because of Jackson Arnold. Well, that's true. Give us your OU sleeper of the year. Who's going to be the Xavier Robinson this year? I said earlier on one of these live shows a few weeks ago, I like Elijah Thomas a lot. So he would be one guy that's on my radar. I'm trying to think. Maybe defensively, a defensive guy. Maybe Guillory. I don't know. I haven't thought about it a whole lot, but maybe him. We got a caller on the line. We got 2 callers on the line. We're going to start off with Okie Lawn Guy. What's up, Okie Lawn Guy? What's going on?
Well, I am not live from Eldell Mitchell Park, but tonight the Oral Roberts Golden Eagles come into Eldell and beat the Sooners 5-3.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
pitching didn't look pretty good, actually. Nothing to say against the pitching. I think we just missed out on some early opportunities, and then in the 8th and 9th inning, it was kind of like we were almost like trying to try really hard to get on base instead of staying back to the basics, pitch by pitch and just playing baseball. So,
Hey, I got a question because I'll just admit it. I follow OU baseball, but I don't follow it that closely. Okay.
well, it's time to get back on board. Come on.
My question is this: what does a loss like this really do? I mean, in the long run, does it?
I don't think it really hurts in the long run.
That's kind of what I thought, but I know like RPI wise and anything like it might hurt you of where you go for a regional, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it does a whole lot hurt you. I don't think it hurts you that much. But
well, hopefully the idea is that you can become a team that hosts a regional in the first year in the SEC. But we'll see. We'll see how that all works out. Right now, we're currently in 6th place in the SEC, in which the midweek games obviously don't hurt you in the SEC conference. In the division race.
Yeah. Fair.
But hey, it's wild for everybody too, because Texas and is in a dogfight with Texas State. Vanderbilt got upset by Middle Tennessee, and LSU is in the 3rd inning and currently getting beat by it's like some rando.
These midweek games are just it happens sometimes. So
I mean, because you're not throwing your guys,
Number 1 team in softball lost tonight too.
Oh, really? Oh, Texas?
Tennessee.
Oh, Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but Yeah, no time to pout. OU actually leaves tomorrow on a plane to Atlanta, Georgia, and then they'll bus around 45 minutes to an hour to Athens, and they will start off the series Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So be ready on Thursday. The game is at I believe it's a 5:30 or 6. Friday is a odd kind of game, but the really most odd one of them all. Saturday is a brunch game. 10:30.
There we go.
The pregame show starts, and 11 o'clock first pitch. 11 o'clock. When's the last time OU baseball has played at 11 o'clock?
Sounds like a football kick. 11 o'clock.
No
Hey,
doubt.
with the baseball update, Okie Long Guy. Okie, appreciate the update for the baseball team.
Hey, you're welcome, and I appreciate doing it, and I'll be happy to do it going forward. So thank you, Jay.
All right. Have a good one, man.
You too.
Let's get to the next caller. We got Germ on the line too. Germ, you're here, huh? Wasn't
Yeah,
sure
can
you'd
you
be
hear
on
me?
here. Yeah,
Can you hear
wasn't
me?
sure you'd be on, but
Hey, Jay,
yeah.
do you remember back in the day? And look, I mean this as a compliment in some ways. Remember George Frazier?
Yeah.
He'd give his baseball update on like the sports.
The sports machine.
No, that was George Michaels, Jay. George
Oh,
Frazier on like the Buzz. That's
Oh,
kind of what.
yeah.
That's kind of what. That's kind of what Okie Long Guy is. And Jay, I used to not really care for the baseball update either. On George Frazier.
Yeah.
Hey,
George
Jay.
Frazier. Yeah.
Big news today was OU in the basketball portal maybe landing a 5-star guy.
Well, we'll see. He made a visit. Let's get to the next caller and then we'll talk about that. But let's get to KB. What's up, KB?
Going on? You doing all right?
Yeah. How are you?
Hey man, I'm doing well, thanks. Hey, talking about not outcomes, but talking about records in football.
Yeah.
And I was watching SEC Mike the other night, and it was kind of a take that I didn't think of, and kind of wondering what you think about it. And he was talking about, and they were going over the Vegas predictions for this year, and they still had OU like 6-5, 6.5 or 7.5. I can't remember what it was. And they were like, they didn't understand it because Arbuckle coming in here, and they got talking. There's some other guys on there. They think they're docking Oklahoma because of BV and some of the coaching staff. And
I think it's also the schedule.
Yeah, well, they went through the schedule and they said, yeah, but you should win some games that you didn't win last year. You
should.
And they were thinking that they think he's a real great. They think BV. They give him all kinds of compliments on being a defensive coordinator, but managing a whole team and getting too much going. They think and keeping some of the guys you did to develop. Some of these guys like John Finley, and they mentioned DeMarco because of the running back situation or whatever. It hadn't been real great. And they said that they think they're dinging him maybe for the coaching staff a little bit, thinking he just ain't the guy.
I think that's like, if you look at Brent Venables has been there 3 years, and you had the 1 year they went 10-2, but you got to look at that schedule that year too. Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty easy schedule. So,
and they complimented the players. They said, you got some really good players. Some of them are really good and didn't get developed like they should have, but they're not blaming your talent for that. You know what I'm saying? They were.
I would agree with Chuck here. I think it's a lot of it's a schedule, but I do think there is a lot of hesitancy out there because I do think there's going to be so many games I think will come down to one possessions, and a lot of times, a lot of the coaching decisions make a difference in those one possession games. You know what I mean?
So,
so that's what we're going to maybe have to find out, and we'll find out this year for sure, because I don't think there's an excuse. You got Arbuckle. It's in your court now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they gave Arbuckle praise, and having Mateer. They were just thinking, overall putting it together as the man. You know what I'm saying? And it just hadn't been his forte, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
But that was just kind of interesting perspectives I never thought about.
Yeah, it is. It is, man. Hey, appreciate it, KB.
Y'all have a good night.
You do the same, man. You do the same. Hey, let's get to Greg. Greg, you're on the line. What's going on this Tuesday night?
Nothing much. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Man, to be honest, I'm kind of calling with my foot in my mouth now because my thought was kind of what KB had just mentioned there. We're hopefully making right strides with, the offensive coaching staff and bringing in players and such. But yeah, at the end of the day, part of me still doesn't trust Venables to win the close game. Do we think he is doing what he needs to do to call better games and just be a better head coach after these 3 years? Is he making the improvements he needs to in order for us to maybe get over that next hurdle?
Well, I think that, I think with Arbuckle, I think it's going to really kind of help BV a little bit because I think I really don't think he's going to have to worry about the offense. I don't think he needs to have much input in it. Let Arbuckle do his thing. He needs to be focused on the defense and then head coaching responsibilities. You know what I mean? You got it under control with Arbuckle, I think offensively. So stay out of that. I mean, I don't even know, offensively, Arbuckle seems like kind of a guy that's going to maybe go for it quite a bit. I don't know. It just kind of seems like his MO, just kind of the way he's energetic and stuff. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think you just let him roll with it, man. And BV's got to prove that he can run the whole thing. And it can't just be the defense. He's got to run the whole show. But you
can't say that, Jay. You can't say that.
Yeah, listen, you do that sometimes by not being in everything, though.
But you just said he just doesn't need to mess with the offense. And then
he doesn't. That's what I'm saying.
Show.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes as a leader, you got to recognize where you don't need to be and be in another area. You know what I mean? You got to recognize that, hey, the offense might be under control. I don't need to spend time over there. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, last year, we had two highly rated quarterbacks that just couldn't get out of their own way sometimes. We had receivers, granted, most of them were hurt, but the ones we did have couldn't get open. Hindsight 2020, looking back on this season, do we think all that boils down to just having Seth Luttrell as the OC, or was it going beyond that? Is it something else? Do you think?
No, I think probably 90% of offense last year was bad offensive coaching, and it was poor coaching. But to me, though, that falls under Brent Venables. He made the hire, but it is, in my opinion, that's where most of the issue was. You had injuries with receivers, and then you had an offense that was just inept. I mean, I don't think they knew how to plan for the week ahead of what was going on, which I do blame a lot of that on, Brent Venables I said this last year. If you're sitting in some of those planning meetings for the offensive staff and you're okay with what they were planning to do on that game, that's an issue.
Of course.
So,
well, hopefully we got it all fixed. I'm excited for this season, but I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess, as we like to say.
That's a good word, caution. I like that. that, Greg.
Thanks, fellas. Y'all have a good one.
Appreciate it, Greg. Have a good one.
Jay, I like what Max says, because not a lot of people are talking about Kevin Wilson. I think
having him on the staff is going to help.
It's going to help, Jay. It's going to help.
And Chuck's right. Only time will tell. Ride or just watch from the sidelines. I'll be riding and watching from the sidelines, but I'm excited. I'm excited about this year. And 918 says you had a fullback coaching quarterback. Wasn't set up for success from the beginning. That's correct. I saw a comment. Let me see if I can get to it. Come on, people, shaking my head, and BV I trust. Hey, Sixfo, I'm just saying 3 years. You're saying nobody can question Brent Venables at all? Zero questions?
Hey, Jay.
I can have questions. It doesn't mean I don't hope he succeeds and does great, because I hope he does.
Hey, Jay.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel's years at OU, they had Jeff Lebby at offense. OU lost several games, and Brent Venables wasn't great in close games and game management. That's a fact.
His first head coaching job. You're going
to let me finish. Okay. That's a fact, and I get that you can make excuses because it was his first year. Last year, he was a little better. He was slightly better in game management. However, there was still a lot left to be desired. Your hope would be in year 3 that the game management is much improved,
Year
and
4.
the other things are going to be way improved, like the offense. That's the hope. But no one should be able to sit here and say, well, Brent Venables, he's really done good all his time at OU. Like, no, you can't say that.
Yeah, and Mr. Dillagaff says, hopefully we can have any wide receivers stay healthy enough to play with Mateer. At least a tight end in and around will look better with Kanik there. Yeah, I don't think they'll be running a tight end in and around, but yeah, it would look better with Kanik for sure. First year was Riley. Second year was 10-2. Last year was on BV. But Sixfo, the second year, 10-2, 2 games they should have never lost. Period. You can't lose to OSU and Kansas. Should have been in the playoff that year. Should have been in the playoff, or at least the Big 12 championship. 40% offensive coordinator, 60% quarterback. Stop saying BV hired when it was Joe C. Kenneth, how do you know it was Joe C. that hired him? I don't know that. Maybe it was. Okay, I don't know, but I just don't understand. If I'm the head football coach at a university, I don't have a say in my offensive coordinator? Are you saying Brent Venables didn't have a say in the offensive coordinator last year? Maybe so, but I don't know. I know a lot of people didn't like Joe C. last year. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I don't claim to know. I was not behind closed doors. I'm not in the Switzer Center. I don't know who hired Joe C.
Hey, and Jay, look, I've been very adamant that I hope BV is the guy. I hope it works out. Now, I've questioned some things, but I've also defended some things. But listen really quickly. Now, look, Lincoln Riley and the way he left and all that, garbage, trash, you can say whatever you want. It is. It's all true. Okay? But that year with Dillon Gabriel, OU lost 4 games that they shouldn't have lost, where there was some bad game management, Jay.
Well, they were fixing the defense that year, too. The defense was bad.
But despite the Lincoln Riley stuff, they still had a lot of games that could have won that year, Jay.
Yeah, and
I get that. I get that the first year you're working through a lot of that. I'll excuse that.
I think that's a lot of that is excused. I would agree first year. And I don't think anybody was ripping Brent Venables after year 1 saying he should be fought. Nobody said that. I'm just saying, like, this year 4, he's got everything there. Like, it's time to go win, I think. And Daniel brings up a good point. He's kind of looking at the other way, saying could have been a lot worse last year. Like, they really had no business winning 6 games, honestly. And he's not wrong. Like with that offense, they were lucky to win 6 games. And that's because, and that you have to give Brent Venables credit for, because Brent Venables did totally change this defense in 3 years. It kept them in games last year. The defense again this year it'll be a very strong part of this team. And that's Brent Venables. Okay. And Brent Venables. So let me ask you this. Who made the hire of Arbuckle? Josie or Brent Venables? I'm asking the chat too. Kenneth, who made the hire of Arbuckle? Brent Venables or Josie?
I think all of the above, Jay.
So don't you think all of the above also had a Seth Luttrell thing?
I do. I'm not going to get into the rumors and the swirling rumors of things.
Mississippi State fans don't seem too happy with Levy this spring. Hey, Mark, I don't know why anybody would want to go coach at Mississippi State. You know, some of these guys that are getting paid a lot of money to be an offensive coordinator, why would you go to Mississippi State? And I know he's got Zach Selman there, but I feel like you just go to Mississippi State to end up going somewhere else in a few years, because I don't think you can consistently win there. The fan stop says BV on the Arbuckle hire. So I just think it's crazy. And listen, I I'm not sitting there blaming Brent Venables for everything, but what I hate is that some of y'all can't put any blame on a head coach, and that's where I'm at. Like after 3, it's like if this happens again this year, a lot of the people will say, "Well, they missed a field goal here, they missed a field goal there." Guys, it's year 4. You got to win more than 7 games in Oklahoma. Period. I love Brent Venables. Okay, I love Brent Venables. I do. I want him to succeed, but they got to win more than 7 games this year.
Jay, probably the best thing you can say about BV, especially last year, is never once did you have a feeling that they lost the team. Every game that they went out fighting. The only exception was the second half of LSU with it, where it just kind of went. But I mean, we talked about this a lot last year during the season, Jay. That bodes well for me. That tells a lot. Now, this year, with what they've put together out of the portal, who they've hired at OC, keeping David Stone, all these things, like there can't be much defensive BB if they don't do well this year.
No, he's set up for success, and he really is. I think, and you know what? I hope they do. I hope they get 9 wins this year. I really do, man. And I don't think that's out of the possibility. I don't think. I'm kind of in between 7 and 9. I don't know where it's going to fall. I'm not ready to pick, but that's kind of where I'm at. I'm anywhere in between 7 and 9 right now. Where are you at? You about the same? They could win 7. They could win 9.
I think they're winning 8 games minimum.
Yeah, I know we went through the schedule, and it looks like they should win 8, but and this is right, Chuck. It doesn't matter. I don't care who the coach is. Go win football games at the University of Oklahoma. Period. Yeah, we are doing call-ins. The link is in there. Let me see if I can get it in there again for you, Jalen.
Hey, Jay, when Gary Gibbs was the coach,
yeah,
or John Blake, were a lot of people defending them?
It was a different era, Jerm, but I don't think there was a lot of people didn't like Gary Gibbs. They wanted him gone. And he won.
He won 9 games. He won 9 games every year.
Oh, 9 or 10 every year. He averaged. I mean, so, but he couldn't beat Texas. That's the difference. Now, Brent Venables is what, 1-2 versus Texas, with 2 pretty big blowouts. But I understand the Dylan Gabriel one. But yeah, there's the link right there, Jalen. If you want to call in. Looks like we got a caller on the line. We got Will. What's up, Will?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Hey, what y'all think about the D tackle we got?
I think he's a guy that has a few years of eligibility and will be a good depth guy.
Well, yeah, most definitely. Do y'all really think we're going to be an 8-win team this year? Like, y'all honestly believe that? Y'all really?
Well, I looked at the schedule, and they should get 7 wins. They should be able to get 7 wins.
Ask yourself this: with our schedule and, of course, the teams that we're playing, who's returning nearly half as depth as what we're returning this year? Texas.
Hey, Will, that's why I'm predicting. That's why I'm predicting a minimum of 8.
I see 10 wins. If everybody stays healthy between now, summer, and off season, especially with the targets if we get the BYU kid, like I'm really high on him. I'm more high
he's
on
not
him.
even making a visit though.
Oh, okay, man. I really wanted that. You know what I'm saying? But if we can just go get 1 more receiver, 2 more, I'm confident in the tight end room. And they're not proven, but I'm confident with the tight end. I just think we need to get a linebacker. We don't even need corners. We just need a linebacker. We got depth at defensive tackle. But I see us winning more than 9 games, 8 games. A lot of people are going to call me delusional and crazy. Just my personal opinion, doesn't have to be respected. But if you look at the years that Brent's been there, you've seen what he's been dealt with, injuries, coming in with the portal and how it's working. You know what I'm saying? So he's never been a head coach. We realize that.
We lost him. What happened?
Hey Jay, when I said
What happened
8
to
wins, I'm
Will?
talking.
Will the three are left. What?
When I said 8 wins, that's where I thought. I think that's what they get minimum.
I know that's what you meant. I know that's
and
what you meant.
that's what they need to keep Venables. I mean,
I'm
Venables
kind
is.
of with Okie here. I'm kind of on his thing here. I'm thinking 8-4, 9-3. And I have never, and I don't know what people are talking about in the chat about character. BV is one of the greatest character guys there is. I'm not going to ever blame the character. Build your coach up, Chuck says. And hey, Brent Venables this year could turn it around and they could get 9 or 10 wins. It can happen. I'm not sitting there saying that can't happen. I mean, quarterback in place, check. Offensive coordinator in place, check. Defensive coordinator, Brent Venables, check. Let's go win, baby. Let's go. I'm all for it, man. Let's go win. Hey, I got trivia. Before we get off here tonight. You ready for this? Before we do, check out the Fan Stop, thefanstop.com. I mentioned it earlier. Great people. Kevin and his team there. Unbelievable people. Great merchandise, great product. Check them out, thefanstop.com. Here's the trivia. 15 years ago was the greatest NFL draft in OU history. They had 3 of the top 4 picks. Number 1, Sam Bradford. Number 3, Gerald McCoy. Number 4, Trent Williams. But did you know there was a 4th player out of the top 6 that was also from a school in Oklahoma? Who was that player? Four out of the top 6 were from Oklahoma schools. Who was that other player? No, Gresham was 21. I think he was drafted 21st. It was 4 of the top 6 picks. It was not Blackman. No. Ndamukong Suh was the number 2 pick. So correct, Gray God. It was an OSU player. I need his name, though. I'll give you half a point, Gray God, but you got to get his name. Jeremy, you there?
Yep, I'm here, Jay. I'm waiting on the answer.
Do you know the answer?
I do not, Jay.
I thought people would get this by now. It's an OSU lineman. I can't believe nobody's got this yet. Yes, Chuck, OSU, you're right, but what was his name? Wow, this is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. There it is. Chief got it tonight. Russell Okung, number 6 pick of the draft. 4 out of the top 6 picks. Listen, this is crazy. 4 of the top 6 from the state of Oklahoma. 5 of the top 6 from the Big 12. Because you had Ndamukong Suh, number 2. What a year. What a year.
And they didn't play defense in the Big 12.
But they had they had some defensive players drafted high, though. Daniel says, I've seen all of the analysts say not so fast on Bryce Hunter because of his spring game performance. All of us OU fans were told the same thing about Jackson Arnold last year. I find that very funny. Well, that is very funny. That's yeah. But and I wonder too.
He's definitely not worth. He's definitely not worth $18 million. No one is.
Well, nobody is on that. But do you think that's where a spring game hurts you on something like that, where it's probably not that big of a deal, and now everybody's talking about it? You know,
it will be amplified. It will be amplified.
It will. Hey, appreciate everybody tonight. The news of the day: OU gets defensive tackle Ricky Lolohea out of Utah State. Commits to OU out of the spring portal. A few more days left of the portal. You have the OU basketball visit from Darion Reed from Alabama, former 5-star player, 6'8". Played with Alabama last year, scored 6 points a game as a freshman. And then you got you have baseball lose. You got huge softball weekend with OU Texas. So big stuff ahead. Thanks for joining us. We got to get off here because we're going right into our Thunder Live. Thunder Live is next. If you want to join us for that, we'll be on next on the Thunder Live. Check us out on there. Otherwise, We will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night.